Here are the top stories for today, December 17, 2020. The president warns of sacking toll regulatory board officials should there be another fiasco. President Duterte reiterates he is not afraid of the International Criminal Court. Kids are discouraged from collecting gifts this Christmas. And the tourism department promotes Pinoy Christmas through music. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte warned officials of the Toll Regulatory Board, or PRRD, that they may face sacking if another fiasco would happen. The president is referring to the traffic mess caused by the implementation of the radio frequency identification, or RFID toll collection system in Luzon expressways. Duterte said that before he could even start firing anyone, TRB officials who acted as deadwood were better off stepping down from their posts. He also said that the traffic mess and confusion could have been avoided if the TRB had fully prepared for the rollout of the cashless toll collection system before it was implemented.
Another fiasco. Alis na kayong lahat. At ilagay ko na lang sa isang tao. You better have one call them regularly and pag hindi, just set them aside. Maglagay ka lang ng tao dyan, ng expert na plano. Isang tao lang naman kailangan dyan eh. Magkuha ka ng military. Di ba maayos yan? Isang salita lang, sabi mo lang, ayusin mo yan, alam na nila anong gawin nila. You don't have to weed out incompetence. Listen very carefully to all and sundry. I do not want you becoming a deadwood. If you cannot perform what is expected of you, then the best that you can do, for decency's sake, resign. And do not wait to be fired. Because masakit yan, mapahiya ka. Hindi ninyo ginagamit yung utak ninyo. Next time, you prepare the public. Kayong mga regulators, if there are changes, if there are, I said, innovations there, let them practice it. Ayusin ninyo muna. Huwag kayo basta papasok-pasok, especially if it involves public interest and public safety.
President Rodrigo Duterte said he is not afraid of suffering the consequences of his administration's anti-illegal drugs campaign. The president is reacting to the remark made by former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, saying he must be trembling in fear over the report that he and his subordinates committed crimes against humanity in the drug war. Trillanes is referring to the report made by the International Criminal Court prosecutor Fatou Bensouda, stressing there was indeed a crime committed during the campaign.
Yung maniwala dyan sa Trillanes, may sa statement. Natatakot daw ako. Hindi ako natatakot. Ako magpakamatay ako sa prinsipyo ko. Kung yan prinsipyo ko na ikamatay ko, okay yan sa akin. Ipakulong ako habang may okay sa akin yan. Pero ginawa ko yan ko na tama.
While the ICC was looking into drug-related killings, Duterte emphasized that police officers were also casualties in the war on drugs. He brought this up while reiterating his desire to bring back the use of batuta among law enforcers. Duterte admitted that there were a few bad cops who are trigger-happy and do not hesitate to shoot drug suspects. However, he said that he never ordered state forces to shoot or kill anyone unless it was an act of self-defense. Duterte also renewed his commitment to support law enforcers charged with killing while in the line of duty.
Sabi ko, ito, go out and destroy the apparatus. Yan. Pagka nagkabarilan dyan in destroying the apparatus, goodbye ka. Kaya sabi ko, ako ay take full responsibility for my order. But remember, I said, enforce the law in accordance with what you have learned, then self-defense.
Malacanang accused prosecutor Patu Bensouda of the International Criminal Court of playing politics with her report. Bensouda alleged that crimes have been committed in the country amid the intensified campaign against illegal drugs. The details from Benj Bondok.
Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque believes that prosecutor Fatou Bensouda of the International Criminal Court is playing politics with her inquiry on the alleged extrajudicial killings of suspected drug pushers. He said the Duterte administration would not allow Bensouda to use the Philippines as an instrument to her politicking. He also said the Philippines is not a state party to the Rome Statute that created the International Court in 2011. As such, the ICC would not be able to open a preliminary investigation into countries that refuse to cooperate. He also reiterated that the drug war should not be considered as crimes against humanity because it is considered a legitimate police action and state forces have no intention to kill civilians. For his part, Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo said Bensouda was seemingly after destroying Duterte's reputation. He said the government does not sponsor any unlawful act that may result in any killing or violent activity against any civilian population. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police said the International Criminal Court needs to show pieces of evidence to support its claims. For the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, the findings of the Office of ICC Prosecutor Bensouda are unfair, unjustifiable, and one-sided. PDEA said it remains skeptical on how the ICC came up with its findings. It says the ICC should have waited for the results of the formal investigation conducted by the Philippine government. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
President Rodrigo Duterte has discouraged children from collecting their aguinaldo or gifts from their ninongs and ninangs. He said doing so would put them at risk of contracting COVID-19, so keep calm and skip the annual visit to godparents. He also urged the public to be patient and pray for the sick and hungry while a vaccine for COVID-19 has yet to be available in the country.
There is always a time. Now is the time to be, hindi naman sedentary, yung kalma muna. Total marami pa naman Pasko. Kayong maghingi ng mga ninang kasi kaawa yung mga tapos maglabas yung ninang mo, ninong, mamili dyan sa kung saan-saan. Idamay mo lang. Maghingi ka hopefully in God's own time, maybe next December. In the meantime, what should we do is to pray for our country and prepare for those who are sick. At saka kung magkain ako, when I say my prayer, God remember those who have the food but who cannot eat. Sumunod ho kayo sa mga patakaran ng gobyerno para sa inyong lahat ito. Kunting tiis na lang. Nandyan na ang bakuna.
Barangay San Antonio in Pasig City finds ways to give joy to the elderly. This is by giving them cash gifts in place of their annual Christmas party. The senior citizens in the barangay receive 500 pesos each, which will be delivered straight to their homes. Chairman Raymond Leasing said the move aims to protect and minimize the risk of exposure of senior citizens during the health crisis. Barangay San Antonio earlier distributed 10 kilos of rice to each of their 5,000 registered voters as their version of Pamaskong Handog for this year. Child patients at the Center for Health Improvement and Life Development House in Ermita, Manila received their early Christmas gifts from the Civil Military Operations Group of the Philippine Navy and Navy Officers' Wives and Husbands Association. The Navy donated a total of 26 gift bags and 7 gift boxes consisting of hygiene kits intended for the improvement of the health and welfare of the patients. The gift-giving activity was led by Ms. Rachel Cruz Bacordo, wife of Navy Chief Vice Administrator Giovanni Carlo Bacordo. Still to come, House employees and their families are assured of getting COVID-19 vaccine. Meanwhile, preparations are underway for the face-to-face classes in Dagupan. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Pangalagaan ng sarili laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Hanggat maaari, umiwas sa mataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong at bibig, maging malinis sa katawan at ugaliin ang wastong paghuhugas ng kamay. Takpan ang ilong at bibig kung uubo o babahing. Umiwas sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas ng coronavirus disease gaya ng lagnat, ubo at sipon. Magsuot ng face mask kung kinakailangan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The House of Representatives allots 50 million pesos for the procurement of COVID-19 vaccine for its employees and immediate family members. House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco says keeping the House employees safe and free from the virus would be necessary to help keep the legislative mill running. The budget covers up to 5 immediate family members. National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon Jr. denied claims that government security troops are using creative ways in detaining individuals allegedly red-tagged by the government. The creative ways reportedly include the filing of false charges like homicide and illegal possession of firearms to offset the repeal of the Anti-Subversion Law of 1957. Esperon said those arrested are members of groups that want to topple the government, meaning they carry weapons for this purpose that are often found by authorities in their safe houses. Esperon also maintained that they do not plant evidence against suspected communist terrorists. He noted that laptops seized during operations often reveal the extent of the involvement of their owners to the armed struggle espoused by the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and its allies. Esperon said the red tagging did not come from the government, adding it was CPP founder Jose Maria Sison who identified progressive groups allied to the communist terrorists. The DepEd Dagupan City Schools Division has chosen the Salisay Elementary School for the dry run for face-to-face classes on January 4 next year. Division Superintendent Aguedo Fernandez said Salisay passed the criteria for areas with one of the lowest COVID-19 cases under the modified general community quarantine with proper LGU DepEd coordination and amicable relationship between the parents, LGU, and the DepEd. Among the barangays with schools in the city, Salisay also fits the criteria as the school has remarkable preparedness in the implementation of health protocols. Fernandez, however, clarified that not everyone will join the dry run. Salisay only recorded a total of 2 COVID-19 cases, all of which have already recovered Wednesday. Health protocols are still up in Bacolod City as curfew hours are adjusted in time for Simbang Gabi. More on this and other news from the provinces from Lade Cabagani.
Curfew hours in Bacolod City have been adjusted as the 9-day dawn masses in Catholic churches started on Wednesday. Mayor Evelio Leonardia modified curfew hours from December 15 to 31 to now run from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. of the following day. On December 1, Bacolod started implementing shortened daily curfew hours from only 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. as it reverted to modified GCQ status until year-end. In neighboring Bago City, the city's new curfew hours is from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. of the following day from December 16 to 31. In Pangasinan, Governor Amado Espino III reminded Pangasinenses on Wednesday to abide by the health protocols amid the celebration this holiday season to prevent further spread of COVID-19 in the province. He advised Pangasinenses to just stay at home if necessary and to continue being disciplined for the safety of everyone. Espino also asked local government units to continue monitoring and implementing health protocols in their respective jurisdictions. As of December 16, Pangasinan has 211 active cases as it remains under modified GCQ until December 31. Meanwhile, Bishop Polito Cortez of the Diocese of Dumaguete is calling on the faithful to observe the health protocols against COVID-19 while attending the Simbang Gabi and Misa de Gallo. Cortez highlighted the need to observe health and safety protocols, citing an influx of churchgoers attending the novena masses. He said the people should turn to Jesus with the aid of Mary, his mother, for protection and guidance. Cortez exhorted the people to become missionaries in their own homes and families, as well as with neighbors who may have gone astray from Christ and the Church. He asked the faithful to call those who wandered away back to the true faith. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lid Kabagani.
In our business news, the Asian Development Bank aims its increased lending to the Philippines to help the government revitalize the economy amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The ADB's sovereign lending to the Philippines is expected to reach $9.4 billion between 2021 and 2023. At least two-thirds of this is going to infrastructure, health, and employment recovery. Nearly half of ADB's lending program in 2021, or $1.75 billion, will fund the first tranche of the South Commuter Railway project. The project is part of the North-South Commuter Railway System, the biggest infrastructure project under the government's Build, Build, Build program. ADB Vice President Ahmed Said said they are focusing on infrastructure projects that have large employment multipliers and support long-term economic growth through improved connectivity. Up next, guidelines are set to determine legitimate requests on government data. And the Tourism Department promotes Pinoy Christmas through music. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang mga dapat gawin sa lugar ng trabaho laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ang mga kumpanya ay dapat magbigay ng face mask sa kanilang mga empleyado. Bukod dito, magbigay kaalaman din patungkol sa COVID-19. Siguraduhin malinis ang kapaligiran. Maglagay ng sabon at hand sanitizer sa mga palikuran. Siguraduhin ligtas at nalutong maigi ang mga pagkain sa kantina. Obserbahan ang kalusugan ng mga empleyado at katrabaho. Kung sakali man na mayroon silang sintomas ng coronavirus disease, gaya ng lagnat, ubot sipon at hirap sa paghinga, ay agad ipasuri sa doktor. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, through the Freedom of Information Project Management Office, has issued guidelines to address the growing number of vexatious requests under the Citizens' Right of Information. An FOI request can be considered vexatious if it is frivolous, malicious, and made in bad faith. Also, if the information requested intends to harass, vilify, or embarrass and poses danger to the office, its officials, or employees. The new FOI policy also provides government agencies, including local government units, the standard evaluation criteria in determining whether a request can be considered vexatious. The policy also recommends agencies to proactively clarify to the requesting party the nature and purpose of request instead of an outright denial of it. PCOO Assistant Secretary Christian Ablan said it still ensures that the freedom of information is still afforded to citizens with legitimate requests. The Department of Health said it has acted with urgency and in accordance with the government's protocols to get a COVID-19 vaccine deal with the pharmaceutical firm Pfizer. In a statement, the DOH said while it wants to expedite the process, there are systems and protocols in place to be followed. The DOH said its legal and technical teams have worked closely with Pfizer to finalize the agreement. After a thorough review process with the concerned agencies, including the Office of the President, the Confidential Disclosure Agreement, or CDA, was signed the same day it was finalized. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III also denied allegations of dropping the ball. Duque said the negotiations with Pfizer are ongoing and national policy against COVID-19 chief implementer and vaccine czar Carlito Galvez signed a CDA with Pfizer in November. In our 4 news, BioNTech will supply 100 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine to China as part of an agreement with Chinese pharmaceutical company Shanghai Fosun. BioNTech will deliver an initial supply of the mRNA-based vaccine from its production facilities in Germany. BioNTech and Fosun Pharma in March 2020 announced a collaboration to develop and commercialize a potential COVID-19 vaccine based on BioNTech's mRNA technology platform. On November 24, the companies announced the start of Phase 2 trial of the vaccine in China. The vaccine had already received emergency use authorization in the United States and the UK, and the 2 countries have started vaccinating priority population groups. To usher in the domestic tourism campaign this holiday season, the Department of Tourism and the Tourism Promotions Board launched a music video featuring Christmas in the Philippines. The video, titled Pasko Na, features Ryan Cayabyab's original composition as it promotes traditional Filipino Christmas practices while reminding viewers of health and safety protocols. The video also depicts the Philippines' rich culture and bayanihan amid the pandemic as it pushes the DOT's domestic tourism campaign. The Pasko Na Christmas AVP was officially launched on December 16 during the 8th session of the TPB Weekly Members Chat. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said, although the pandemic has altered the means of celebrating festivities, the whole campaign reminds everyone that the Filipino Christmas spirit will always be celebrated. And here's the latest in our community billboard. The One Town, One Project store is now open at SM City Clark. Micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs, in Angeles City, Pampanga will have an opportunity to showcase Gawang Angeleño products in an exhibit by the city government. SM City Clark is assisting local MSMEs in promoting their crafts such as home decorations, wooden kitchenwares, kitchen organizers, fashion accessories, and bags. This is an initiative of the city government of Angeles to help MSMEs amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The OTOP store is open from December 17 to December 20. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. The president warns of sacking toll regulatory board officials should there be another fiasco. President Duterte reiterates he is not afraid of the International Criminal Court. Kids are discouraged from collecting gifts this Christmas. And the Tourism Department promotes Pinoy Christmas through music. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And it is 8 days to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I'm William Theo. Good day, stay safe, happy holidays, everyone.